Okay, let's do it.
There we go. So I guess we are live. So welcome everyone. So tonight I know that a lot of our listeners, wouldn't you say a lot of our listeners, Nick, are following along in our Cacao Talk chat and already have checked out our special guest website and are excited for everything that is in store tonight.
I hope so. I mean, we do have quite a few of our listeners following in Cacao Talk, but I think more should start. I mean, there's never too many to have, and it's been a great party there so far.
Yeah, I would say so. So tonight we have Juwan Park with us, and so I would like to say how I met our guest tonight, Nick, and I think that our diehard listeners know that I went to de-electricity about a month ago, and probably a little over a month ago, and then I I saw our guest perform again at Spread Art Detroit last month, and it was again phenomenal. And so I just am so excited to have someone on the show who cares so much about bringing the arts to Detroit and especially like showing Detroiters Korean art from Korean American artists and experiences that a lot of Detroiters have been waiting all of their life for to have come to the city of Detroit. And so I love Juwan for you to talk a little bit about your efforts in the city and your work and anything else you would like to tell us.
All right, thank you. Thank you for inviting me here. So my name is Juwon Park. Uh, yeah, I'm a musician. I make music, I perform music, and my main instrument is computers and electronics. You will see me perform on stage using like computers and synthesizers, but I also present a lot of music as a composer. You may see my piece performed by other people, ensembles and other electric musicians. And I work as a assistant professor of music technology at the Wayne State University, which is right in the center of the Detroit. Since I work there and my main stage is in Detroit, I get to present my music and all the music related things in the city. And yeah, I've been doing that for since 2016. That's when I moved here. And I don't know. It's from there on. It's I don't know. It's not my intention to be usually like only Asian, kind of performing in a show, but it happens to be like that quite a bit. Uh, I hope it's changing, but because of the genre, perhaps, or because of the style of music I do, it's I don't know, it's whether I like it or not. I guess I do quite a bit of representing Asian artists in the in the city art scene, in the music scene, and yeah, I hope I do as much as I can to be visible and to be I don't know noticeable. And where I met John, the electricity was the most recent, um, let's say like appearance in public since pandemic, and it was a great experience to make music in for the audience again, and then interact with really great community of artists, listeners, people in general in the Detroit area.
Yeah. So I will say that, I, as someone who is also a professor at a college and tries to be involved in my community and everything. I completely relate to everything, and I really love the fact that you are talking about increasing diversity and about the fact that, others can be involved with experiencing uh, the art of Korean American artists. I think that this is all fantastic. So before I go any further, not to interrupt, but I would like to say that if you have a question that you would like to ask Juwan, just feel free to put it in our live chat and we will get to it at some point in the show later on. And then we will try to get to as many questions as we can. So, Nick, I will let you ask the next question.
Oh, good. Thank you, Chad. Juan, what's the coursework that you teach at Wayne State?
Yeah, so I teach. But I'm a professor in music technology. So basically, I train my students to become like music engineers, producers, people who does audio in the all sorts of audio thing in the city, like radio stations, TV stations, podcast companies, all those things. So what I teach is like recording classes, production classes, but also there's some creative sides of that too. So I teach classes on like how to use synthesizers and how to create synthesizers. But the one of my favorite classes to teach is electronic music ensemble, in which John saw a month ago at the Electricity, where as an ensemble, many people play electronic instruments. I like to teach that class quite a bit because when we are making music, when people make music with the computers, when we are producing music, it's usually a very lonely job. One person sitting on a computer, you do your thing, and then you publish it on a YouTube, SoundCloud, Bandcamp. But I think there's this community aspect that we can get. We can promote using electronic instruments, and there's this class that I teach where a bunch of people who used to make music by alone come together and try to make music together, and there's kind of magic to that. Many of us have some kind of playing experience of playing together, I don't know, as a kid or as an adult, but then doing that, using the instrument that they chose to become a major of, is it's something special, I think. And I really love to teach that class. I love to be part of that class, and I think that's where, in a way, it's place where I can teach something that I usually cannot teach in any other situations, except perhaps like in college, where you have people who have a common interest and who are, I don't know, willing to do something like they have not experienced, or they are like they don't know what to do, but they want to do it. So I think just doing that kind of stuff in a college environment is something that I enjoy. Yeah.
So, Juwan, I know it's really hard, I'm sure, to talk about your uh, yourself and all of the awards and everything that you have, but I I would like to ask if I know that you said that some of your music and some of your pieces have been played by others. Are there any places where some of the listeners might have heard your work already?
I mean, you can just search my name. There's YouTube channels, SoundCloud. So it's easy to find me on the web. I mean, I prepare something for audience to watch. If I can share the screen too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
that, that,
so
Easier
and I
absolutely.
was
talk
going to,
about. I mean,
yeah,
yeah.
absolutely. I was going to say that
Ah,
just about now, since
yeah.
Rachel has
Ah,
asked if you
mm,
could play some of
mm.
your work for us right now, so you can absolutely have
And of
the.
course, John, I see that we did not have any opening credits this week, so the audio visual team must still be off for Halloween.
Well, I will not say that, Nick. It actually
Oh, okay.
the team is here, but
Oh,
the team told me that they are still rendering the opening credits, so I'm not sure what happened to
does that
them.
mean they're on strike, or how do I interpret
well,
that?
well, I don't know it. I guess if that's what you call it, Nick. It's
Regardless, I
great,
think we
but
have a much better audio visual
yes,
performer with us tonight
absolutely.
than
So, Juwan, I think that
All
you
right.
do have the
I
ability
can.
to share your screen. So,
Sure.
whenever you are ready, feel
All
free
right.
to take it away.
I am ready.
All right. Let's do quick sound check. Sorry to share my messy.
No, no, take your time. We
So can you
appreciate it. I'm
do you,
looking forward to it.
do you hear this?
Yes.
All right. Okay. Excellent. Very good. All right. So electronic ensemble. Let me show you. So here's the ensemble piece I made. It uses computer and a game controller. So let's see. How do I do this? Okay. Let's do this one. So there's this like computer program I made so that people will play, and you can control the sound and the visuals like that. It's like a little drum machine. All right. So each performer will play this, but I will actually make a piece using this, and the ensemble members will be playing this as an using game controller. And you see my fingers here, and pieces sounds like this. Yeah, so that was one of my pieces. It's called PlayStation Quartet number 2. Of course, there's number 1. But number 1 is kind of, if this was a kind of drum piece, this is more like kind of a guitar quartet sound like one.
So now, what were the individuals doing with the what looked like game controllers?
Yeah. So what they do is, well, I mean, they will play that like an instrument. Like, when you play a Guitar Hero, right? There's your controller basically becomes like an instrument in a way.
Okay.
So, what I did was I mapped those keys on a PlayStation controller so that they can play like certain instruments or drum, like a low kicks or like a hit hi-hats or like but also they will control both graphics and the color of the sound by using a joystick, right? So you will basically, so it's like, when you're playing a guitar, you can pick a note and then you can make kind of different kind of sounds by changing the pressure on the, on your left hand. So I wanted to make sure that when you are playing, even you're playing basically a game controller, it feels like an instrument. So
Okay.
what they were doing actually is kind of improvising their color while also reading a note. So I can kind of show you what they were actually reading. Something. I mean, it's not exactly what they're reading, but like in PlayStation Quartet 1, you will see like kind of combination. If you play games, you kind of know what like L2 and R2 means. Yeah, so now they're like stopping by pressing L2 and R2, right? But then here they all come in and then try to play like a left and right joysticks, move left and right. So they will try to read something that's kind of based on music notation, but also since they're playing game controllers, use their muscle memory. You don't have to look at your finger when you look at the square and circle if you've been playing games for a few years. So here, play square and circle, improvise with it. Maybe play as many as 2 notes, as many as 4 notes. So you can kind of create a, in a way I have to create like a new kind of instruction, new kind of notation, so that when my performer sees it, right, what they would read is like off from the score, like just like the way you read the music, but then it needs to be suitable for the instruments, which is a game control here. Okay. Like, so, and here they will like kind of improvise and then move my motion. So this is where, if you are playing a controller, it's like you do this. Yeah, so it's an ensemble. You play music together, and my job as a person who's making music and but also designing an instrument for them is to make the performers feel like they're playing music instead of, let's say, just pressing buttons, or like in a way like more than playing a game. If I do this with a group of people, would I feel, I don't know, musically engaging? Then if I want them to feel musically engaging, what do I need to do? So that's kind of like something that I would do, right? That I don't have to think too much when I make, let's say, music for existing instrument like piano, guitar. Is how do I design electronic instruments so that when you play it, it feels like an instrument. When you play together, it feels like an ensemble. And hopefully, when you listen to them, it sounds like music, but also it sounds like they are playing together, not just pretending that they're playing, on the stage in a way.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, are you actually, so when they're using those controllers, is it actually being run through a PlayStation console, or the controller is hooked up to other hardware?
Controller is
And
hooked up to computer. It's not actually going through a
okay,
PlayStation. Yeah, it's just
okay,
Bluetooth to a computer, and the computer is running a customized program.
okay.
Hmm.
Now, are they, so the demo video you showed, it had 5 individuals
Mm,
controlling different pieces.
right.
Is it all going through the same computer, or is it 5 different computers that are all synced up into one?
5 different computers not synced to each other. So you saw 5 people with the 5 computers like that. So everybody is basically paired up with the one computer.
Okay.
Yeah. So but they sound synced up because they are playing together, right?
Right. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. So you just saw me like doing this all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So
So
yeah,
no different than an orchestra, everybody playing in tune with each other.
that's right. Right. Yeah.
Okay.
You are in sync in a very like human way.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, Juwan, I have a question. So, I know that a lot of people, when they think of musical arrangements, that
Mm,
they hear a lot of times that a lot of mathematicians are good at music because of the rhythms and the beats. And would you say that that is a very similar sort of concept that translates into the pieces that you are writing also?
that the that musicians are good at math is what's the
Yeah, like or the math, or the mathematics of all of it. That there
uh,
that there's some like math that goes into the number of
I got
beats
you.
and all of that that you have to when you're putting all these pieces together.
Mm. I mean, there's definitely relation. I mean, because of the music I make, right? That I have to, in essence, code the instruments software part. Knowledge of I don't know a little bit of computer science and a little bit of the mathematics is necessary, right? But what I teach also in classes is like conceptually the main idea that I like to teach in the class is that if you want to be a music engineer or music technologist, you have to know, you have to learn to express music in numbers, right? Because when you say I don't know forte, loud, fine, how loud, right? That's as a human we kind of get it. But if you tell a computer, hey, play forte, it's like, okay, what number? Yeah, you have to quantify to communicate with the computers, right? So, in a way, the main idea of what I teach is how do you think and how do you express music in numbers? How do you actually express your musical idea that's sometimes abstract, that's sometimes really hard to even express. How do you actually make that realize in using software X or hardware Y? In that case, you got to actually put a number in it. So yeah, you're right that you have to be a little bit well, you have to be not afraid of actually using numbers in music in music technology major. And I think once you get that connection of, oh, okay, I can actually talk about this in this expression, in this equation. Oh, good. Then how about I use this to make music? And there's, this kind of a really great, um, I don't know, back and forth between calculating and making music all the time. Yeah.
Oh yes, and so I'm hearing, and Rachel said that no way, John, music is way harder than math. But what I'm really hearing is, in order to take your classes, that people have to get through my math classes first, because if they can't do operations with fractions, they can't count the the number of beats per minute correctly.
Well, I mean, counting is fine. I mean, you count. I think it's counting itself. Like, okay, so um, let's say Counting, you don't have to like pass, and I don't think you have to like pass in like math class to count well, but there's this um, you know undeniable relationship between numerical world and sound. And once you realize that, I think this happens quite a bit to my students too. That math becomes really fun. Where
Oh,
it's
yes, yes, yeah.
related to
That's
what you do. I mean, it's kind of I don't know. I wish I actually learned about this when I was undergrad too. When I was high school, like that. What I do, what I'm doing, what I really love to do, which is music, actually has quite a lot to do with the world of numbers and expressions. But it took me long time to actually realize that. I knew about it, but actually really like realize that that is actually what I do is something I realized. I think a little too late, later than I expected. So I'm making sure that my students actually you know get that aha moment earlier than me. That's kind of like what I try to do. Yeah. So no, it's but I think music is actually like kind of half, not even half. I don't know. It's really hard to divide, but it's equally the like exercise of here, but exercise of here too, right? It's something that I think I can teach students and show students by like, oh, here's the screen. This is what I do. A plus B makes this sound. But and also there's a lot of things that's kind of hard to express. It's that's kind of hard to talk. You know, and and I don't know. Maybe I can teach it. I can show it only by just actually playing that. Right. There's this kind of danger of if we actually think too much of what we do as a musician, as an artist, as a formulaic, then I think we miss something. Same thing goes otherwise too. If we actually teach or show music or something as a kind of very like like, oh, I got inspiration, I'm just gonna do this, like something that all the geniuses do, then we miss another half of what's going on. So I think there's this balance of you know um, carefully calculated things plus not so calculated. I don't know where it came from, but it sounds good. Kind of moments too.
so.
I don't know if I'm making sense, but
Oh
that's it.
no, no,
Yeah,
that makes
yeah.
complete sense. Yes. So I want to actually get to one of our viewer questions from earlier. So Rachel asked, "Who is your favorite DJ or your favorite artist?" And so, who would you maybe recommend that
Hmm.
we listen to, or who are some of your favorites, Juwan?
Oh, favorite DJ. Uh, I mean, I I ask my students, who are your favorite people, who are your favorite musicians. That way, I keep updated. I mean, as tutor person, I cannot. It's 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 very important to listen to people like J Dilla, all these people. But also, let's see. Let me actually look at my listened recent listening list. It's
John,
very hard. It's a super difficult question to actually ask who's your favorite musician. So, uh, let's see. So, for like I don't know, like kind of to expand or to listen to something perhaps something new or interesting, I recommend Alvin Lucier. He's not a DJ, but he's very much like one of my biggest inspiration. Alvin Lucier, Lucier. Like he's 80 years old, composer. But his music is kind of like a just. First of all, when you listen to his music, it goes like, oh, what is this? But um, I don't know. Have you seen this like there's this famous piece called "I'm Sitting in a Room," and basically that's what he says. Like, I'm sitting in a room different from you so now, and then he would actually record that again and again in the room. And by just recording that into a room many times, it changes. I don't know how to explain it, but because, when you're actually in a room, right, you actually hear not just the sound of me clapping, but all these echoes and the color. Like when you sing in a bathroom, it sounds different from when you sing, like, I don't know, in my room. Okay, so your room, right? Yeah, your room has a sound. Your room actually has a distinct sound. And what it does is, I'm sitting in a room, is you bring out that roomness, and it becomes, it's kind of really scary and weird to actually listen to the room itself. Yeah, I mean, if you just Google search and YouTube search, like, I'm sitting in a room, you're gonna see like 1 hour of this guy just recording that sound again and again and again in a room. And by the end of it, what you're hearing is just the room tones, but really, really emphasized. And it kind of blew my mind when I listened to it. Even it was like 60 years old, piece right now. Other than that, let's see. I grew up listening to many, like, classic Korean pop songs, and then listen quite a bit of jazz. So Coltrane is quite a big influence of, although it does not make sound like it was, I have listened to Coltrane pretty much every day when I was an undergrad. And let's see. Oh man, I'm forgetting this one person's name. It'll come back to me. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's how I feel like sometimes, is that things come and go. So
John, since you're a mathematician and we made the assimilation between mathematicians and musicians, can you give us a little sample of your own musical talents?
Well, you know what, Nick, I certainly can.
Yeah.
Because guess what, Nick? This is something that you asked for earlier, but
I don't remember asking for anything.
Well, you did, Nick. You asked for the opening credits. So
good.
Yeah. So and this is the extent of my musical talents, Nick.
Yeah, the opening credits over halfway through.
So let's roll the opening credits, Nick, since you asked for it.
Thank you.
All right, here we go. No, this isn't my fault.
The struggle is real. Oh, the Rainbow Road. With the video game music in the background.
A podcast about math and Korean culture. For information about our podcast, please visit our new website at www.funnypodcastdetroit.com.
엔드 나오기와 아이오 호스트 프로페서 승찬 엔드님
See, Nick, what do you think? That's the extent of my musical abilities.
Well, no, John, I was hoping you were going to do a little singing for us like you have in the past on special occasions.
Well, I don't think that that's possible tonight.
Well,
but
why not? I think everyone's been waiting a long time to hear some Little Mermaid again.
So, Juwan, I do know that Rachel asked, is it Miles Davis?
What about Miles Davis?
I think is that the person who you were trying to think of earlier.
Miles Davis, certainly amazing musician, big hero of mine. It's like one of these things, like, I can hear in my head, but it's just really hard to pinpoint. Oh wow, give me, it's like, it's one of these things, if you try to remember, it does never comes, and it's gonna come back, like, somewhere unexpectedly. Yeah. So yeah, I don't want to, like, just go to radio silence. Just me thinking. So
well, I do want to, before Nick forgets everything, and
before I forget everything.
At least remember to show our listeners where they can find out more about you, Juwan. So
Yes.
juwanpark.net. So this is where you can find all of the links to Facebook and YouTube and Blogspot and the RSS feed. Is that this one? I feel like I do know it said Blogspot link, but I knew that's not what it said. That's not what it was. So there you go, everyone. You can find out lots of information here, and there is a lot to find out here. So now, Juwan, I know that I mentioned that there is usually trivia during every show. So I do know that I am a little bit behind on sending out listener prizes since I was out of town this past week at a math conference in Phoenix. But this week's listener prize is, where should I hold up, Nick? Cactus
Right
Candy.
there, yeah. Oh, whoa, wow, what is that?
So this is Cactus Candy from Arizona that I got there, and it's made with prickly pear cactus.
Have you sampled it?
Well, no. Why would I give the listeners used, like already open candy as a prize, Nick?
Well, you could have you could have grabbed another one and tried it, so then you could vet out the prize.
Well,
that way you're not giving away something that is not all that great.
Nick, I do know that I have had cactus candy in the past, so I do know that this is a legit prize, Nick.
Oh, okay.
So
and can you go through then how does the winning listener actually win the cactus?
Yes, I can. So all you have to do is just answer something correct tonight in the live chat. Something.
Any question
correct.
First one to do it.
Yes.
Okay.
That's correct.
John, what is our theme for trivia this evening?
So it is going to be Korean music.
Oh, great. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty easy, right, Nick?
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think that you could get anything wrong here, right?
How could I ever get any of these questions wrong ever, any of these weeks?
Okay, so.
And John, wait, we have to go through what the winner of the trivia receives as a prize.
But the winner of the trivia this week, and so do you want, like, every week there is a prize. So it has been determined that the prize for the rest of the year is drinks on me and Nick whenever we meet up.
No, John, it's not on us, it's on the show. The show is going to
be on the show, Nick, but that our budget is low.
All right, whatever.
But that's okay. So that is that's the prize. And since by the way, Nick, I will tell you that I got some things to make the show better while I was in Phoenix. So pun intended, over the funniest jokes of all time. And then I got, where did I get? Bad dad jokes, over 300 of the best of the worst dad jokes of all time.
Wow.
And then I also got
incredible.
Yeah, so you're saying there's a chance, random facts, figures, and odds. So
oh boy.
So I will read random things from these books throughout the upcoming months and years, Nick.
Well, good. What a treat.
So now
almost as much of a treat, John, is as if you sang some Little Mermaid for us.
I was gonna say.
Yes. But Nick, is your first. Here's your first question, Nick.
Wait. How come I go first? Don't we usually? How do we usually determine this?
Okay, so do you wanna? I will let you go first. Then that's perfectly fine. So,
Don't you usually let the guest choose who goes first? Like
well, okay.
a
So,
winning coin
Juwan, would
toss
you
to a
like to
football
go
game?
first, or would you like Nick to go first?
Oh, it's a trivia quiz to me. I thought you
Yes.
were asking questions to Kevin. Okay, I'm fine. I can go first. I mean,
Okay. So,
okay,
all here's your first question.
go ahead.
Just what is one type of traditional Korean drum? Like any
Hmm.
traditional Korean drum.
Book.
Ah, yes. So,
Hmm.
so would you like to tell everyone or
Uh-huh.
what book is?
Book is so it's a part of 사물놀이. It's like a four percussion ensemble you play, and it's just basic drum. It's like just uh it's made out of skins, right? Like instead of metal. So and so it's just- I can like draw. I don't know. Yeah, it's just a circular drum that you play the stick or with your hand, but it has a skin on both sides, and then you will play it. It's like a kind of if you're like in a rock band, it's going to be like the kick drum, the doom 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 part, right? And it plays like a low sound, and it takes kind of care of the like kind of just like a bass rhythm. It's called book. And most of the time, if you ever see like 사물놀이 or Korean percussion ensemble, it's the guy. It's the guy usually plays with it either sitting down or walking around. But it takes this kind of the role of like the bass part. Hmm. Sorry, I mean it was uh, I played in a 사물놀이 troupe when I was in college, so that was I just just told you what I played in there.
Can I ask if I'm going to share my screen, but is this an example?
That's one of the books. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Uh,
Wow,
Yeah,
look at the coloration on that.
that's like like a kind of fancy one. Let me see if I can actually find it here too. It's
Yeah, I actually took that picture myself because I was at the
uh,
musical instrument museum in the Phoenix area, and they had a Korean Korean music section. So
hmm,
I thought that was
hmm.
fascinating. Also, like to get to see
Yeah.
all of those up close.
Right. So in that picture, what I used to play is more of like the small on the right side. That's what on the like it's not the big one on the left side, but on the right side. Yeah, but without that much of a elaboration. There's no like picture inside. It's just just plain old skin that I'll play. This is for more of okay, I'm probably wrong, but it's more like kind of like a chord music, more like a formal ones, right? But there's the ones I play was for more like kind of like festivals, playing on the street and stuff. So there's kind of less of these decorations, but more of a practicality. But yeah, that's a book too. Yes. Hmm.
Well,
Yeah.
you know what, Juan, that's 5 million points for getting that question
Oh,
correct.
thank you.
So,
That's
yes,
pretty good. That's
yeah, that is great. So, Nick, are
Can,
you
John,
ready for your question?
No, well, no, not really. Can I just put in talk? Can I just throw in the towel? I feel like 5 million points is an
yeah, that's
insurmountable
that's
quantity.
Oh, you know what, Nick? This one is worth 10 million.
okay.
So I think that you have a chance.
Uh, okay. I doubt it,
So
but why not?
I think that this is very easy. So which girl group had the hit song Be My Baby?
Girls' Generation.
So close. Wonder Girls.
I wouldn't know. I mean, if you actually asked that question to me, I would have got it wrong. It's
But yet he says it's so easy. So we both.
Well, I mean,
John, you're false advertising.
I don't think that this is false advertising. I just, Nick, I thought that you would actually be a little bit more relaxed and get one correct since you're not at home this week. But that's
well,
unfortunate.
I guess, yeah. Sure.
So now, Juwan, this one is worth 15 million points.
okay.
So,
Oh my goodness.
yeah, so
It's 5 points.
what is and this is more this isn't even like in the form of a question, but name one traditional Korean string instrument.
I think it's kind of unfair for Nick. I mean, you're asking all these, traditional instrument question, which, I mean, and you can read about it in a way. But I mean, if you actually ask what you ask to Nick, I mean, I would know. This one, like I mean, you read about it. I would know. I mean, I don't answer, but it's just I don't know, Nick. I don't know what to think. It's a kind of a.
Thank you, Juwan, for someone finally being on my side. It's never John. John is always out to sabotage me on this.
What can I say? All I can say is I think that I find traditional Korean musical instruments to be very unique and very interesting, and I would love to play the drums myself, but I haven't found a place where I can buy an instrument around here. So if you have a suggestion, Juwan, I would love it.
Where do you live?
Oh, in Warren. So I live really in the area, but
I mean, a lot of like universities have Korean percussion groups. I know Ann Arbor, U of M has one. You can just go there and ask, if you can just join a session. I don't think they will say no. And,
okay.
There's a lot of they have, they should have connections where to get those things.
That's a great suggestion. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes, I know that there's lots of things I have wanted to do like that I know that when I got to play some traditional Korean instruments for the first time myself a couple of years ago, it was one of the highlights of my trip to Korea. So last like a couple of times ago I went.
I mean, it's a fun piece to play. Were you playing the percussion instruments?
We played a little bit of everything that was in the guy's home studio that he had. So he had some of everything, but he was really into recreating the traditional music sounds you would hear as, say, like the transfer music on the Seoul subway system, that type of like those traditional types of beats that are still heard from time to time. So I find that sort of soothing myself. So
I mean, if you really want, I mean, I can send you a link on Amazon.
actually, that would be even better because like I buy everything on Amazon, including soju. So what can I? What can
Oh
I
no,
say?
John, you're not supposed to admit that because it's illegal.
But all right, so now just for giving me and all of our listeners those great tips, I'll give you 25 million points, Juwan.
Oh, yeah.
So now, Nick, this is your last chance to catch up, Nick.
So how much is this one worth?
Let's just say 50 million.
Oh, wow. John, we're really giving away some big currency tonight.
Yeah, why not?
I mean, I don't think we've ever had point totals that were in the millions like this.
Oh.
Yes. So now,
Pretty intense.
which K-pop band had a huge hit with Coincidence after it was used during coverage of football's World Cup?
Wait, read that question again, please.
All right, which K-pop band had a huge hit with Coincidence, and that's the name of the song, after it was used during coverage of football's World Cup? And this was when was that World Cup year? I at least wanted to give you that one, Nick. Oh, well, Nick, that's okay. So what do you think, Nick?
Oh boy. I'm guessing it's not BTS because that seems too obvious to
Which World Cup? That's
It was, I think it was 2002, the one that was
long
Korea and Japan.
that's okay.
Oh, as the host countries, you mean?
It was hosted jointly.
Yeah. Oh boy, I don't know.
So what do you think, Nick?
God, I didn't realize K-pop was that big back then. But
It was not.
Well, I thought that you were a sports fan, Nick, so I thought you might get
I don't know, John. Are you
an
asking
easy
me?
one?
Are you asking me a pop music question or a sports question? I'm not quite
but
sure
you
here.
have to think, Nick, this is the football's World Cup is like the Super Bowl of soccer, so everyone's watching it. Well, so close, Nick. It was Baby VOX.
Oh, all right. No, that was going to be my next guess.
Rachel remembers that game. And you want to know why, Nick? Because that halftime show was one for the ages.
Oh, okay. All right. I hope so.
So now, while we wrap up here, I would like to give our listeners one final chance to ask Juwan any questions. And
before we do that, John, did we have a listener winner tonight?
Well, let's see. You know what? I will say that I was going to give the Cactus Candy to Rachel just because Rachel supported my view of Cactus Candy from the beginning.
Oh, wow.
Yep. So, Nick.
What a win.
Yeah, so Nick,
yes.
Do you have any other final thoughts or final questions?
About what?
About anything for Juwan, like about music or about
like meant in general, like do you have any thoughts or questions about the world?
Well, you know what, like, like if you want to ask Juwan about anything about the world, I'm sure that you will give it a shot. I'm guessing
the questions I can
not a question, but I'd like to thank Juwan again for coming on and sharing a little bit of what he does in his career and as an instructor. And it was great to get that little preview. And since you're local, I'm looking forward to hopefully meeting you someday. John, I know has, and hopefully the three of us can convene at some point in the future. And
that'd be great.
Well, and just so that everyone knows, I stay as a reminder that I stay on top of everything going on by now I will tell you right now, this is how everyone should go ahead and find out about new things going on around the globe. I don't want to be so dramatic, but if you go to funnypodcastdetroit.com and click on calendar, then if I know of any events coming up where Juwon will be at, or any other Korean art or Korean culture or Korean language events in the Detroit area or anywhere around the globe, I will add them right into our website right here. And it's a great place to find out about things. Wouldn't you agree, Nick?
Yes, what a time to be alive.
Yeah, so there are some great things here. And if everyone didn't know already, it is the first day of American Indian Heritage Month today. And so I do think that that's one thing to pay attention to and be
I'm a
aware of.
little surprised that the naming for it wasn't Native American instead of American Indian.
So I will tell you, Nick, that in my research of everything, that there are lots of different names of different national months and heritage months based off of who you ask. And so, for example, Friday, November 26th is Native American Heritage Day, which is during the American Indian Heritage Month. And so I think that this can also be confusing for people. Nick, you're absolutely right.
Well, that's why we have the calendar, though, John, is so people can help keep track of it.
Yes, exactly. So, Juwan, if you are having an event in the area, we would love to just add it to our calendar and help get the word out anytime.
Yeah, I'll let you know. I have a show in April. I don't know the date yet, but it's going to be like a dance show with the dance troupe. It's gonna be coming up. Other than that, I think there's some kind of online events, but winter is a little bit quiet for me this year. So yeah.
Oh, yes, and I completely understand. I will say though that one thing that I did want to mention on the briefly, real quickly before we depart, because I think that this is important to mention, but this is let's see. So Horangis will be having a happy hour at the Museum of Contemporary Art Detroit. So if you're in the Detroit area, I'm planning to be there this upcoming Saturday from what is it, 5 to 7, but feel free to come and check all of this out. And I think it will be a fun time. So I did want to mention that since it's happening before next week's show. Nick, are you planning to be there?
No, unfortunately I will still be out of town at that point, but I do know, John, there are a couple of other folks that I know that are planning to be there as well who actually would like to meet you. So I will let them know that you're going to be there, and it should work out pretty coincidentally well.
That's how things work, isn't it?
It is. Yes.
And you should tell those mystery people the next time to find out about more events on our website.
Yes, absolutely. Although
All right,
they
so-
already knew about this one. So
Now, Juwan, I there's one last bit every week that we do, and it's Nick's final joke of the week. So
even though it's Monday.
yeah, so Nick gets one last chance to redeem himself for the entire week with a joke.
Oh,
So-
I didn't know this was a chance to redeem myself.
Well, yeah, after you're getting negative 50 million points every week, I would expect that maybe you would like a chance at redemption.
Oh, I didn't realize the joke of the week was redemption. Or there was possibility
if
for
you
redemption.
actually-
Okay.
If you actually have a good joke one week, it will be worth 1 billion points.
Wow, 1
But
billion
but it
points.
hasn't even gotten close to being good yet, so I didn't think I should mention it. I didn't
Oh.
want to put too much pressure on you.
Okay. I mean, I think it's irrelevant at this point, but if you say so. But all right, John, I've been really putting a lot of effort lately into spreading information and facts about dried raisins. Like, you know,
So,
a big initiative on spreading information about dried raisins and whatnot.
so Nick, is this a prune joke?
No, but it's you know, I'm raising awareness.
Well, I pruned your joke down, Nick.
Oh, wow.
Oh, see what I did there, Nick?
Except that prunes are made from plums, not grapes. So,
Well, you know what, Nick, fruits and vegetables, they're all the same.
sure, if you
Close
say so.
enough,
I mean,
Nick.
I don't.
Well, thank you again, Juwan. And
Yes, thank you,
everyone
thank you.
for
Appreciate you
listening.
coming on.
And I hope everyone has a great week. And unfortunately, our closing music crew left early after the
Oh,
embarrassment
Unbelievable.
of not being ready with the opening music till halfway through the show.
The struggle is real.
Yeah, the struggle is real. So see you